a lot of it depends on the draft, and the Eagles do have 3 first-round picks, and I think cornerback is one of the most likely positions that they're going to go in the first round of the draft.
Mac and Mac guys here on Birds 365. McDonald and McMullen here with you. John booked our next guest. He's going to join us coming up in about 20 minutes from now. Did you know him previously when he was a member of the Philadelphia Eagles? Have you cracked up a relationship with him recently? How did you get Clay Harbor to join our show this morning?
No, I was not in Philadelphia.
That's what I thought.
When Clay was playing, which I think was he got drafted in 2010.
2010, right.
I was here, I think, for 3 years, 2010, 2011, 2012. So I was not in town. We just happened to follow each other on social media. And I said, hey, let's get Clay Harbor on the show. It's as simple as that.
Nice.
He does, obviously he still talks football all the time. He was a contestant. I was mentioning this to you off air. I didn't know if it was The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. He was a contestant on the 14th season of The Bachelorette, starring Rebecca Cuprin, if anybody knows. Now, I don't watch those shows.
Nor do I.
But Clay's a good-looking guy, is what I'm trying to say. So he'll be a little eye candy for the ladies, at least, which we can't provide.
Yeah, more power to him. If he did well on, didn't he get hurt on the show?
I think he did get hurt on the show. That's all I remember about the show. And I don't watch those shows, but yeah, he did get hurt on the show. And ironically, I believe he got hurt playing football on the show.
I don't.
Which kind of talks to Barrett's summation about off-season work. You can't legislate injuries. You can't predict injuries. A professional football player got hurt playing football on a reality television show.
Well, then that's one of the questions we will ask him. Are the Eagles doing the right thing by practicing less?
Yeah.
Whereas he got hurt practicing against fellow bachelors. And no, I don't watch the show. I didn't see any of his episodes. I remember reading it somewhere, like strange but true, that he actually got hurt while playing football on The Bachelor. But we'll talk some football with Clay Harbor. He's going to join us coming up in a couple of minutes. That should be fun. Never had the chance to talk to him before. J-Mac, we kind of kicked it around in hour number one that the Eagles have made exactly one offensive addition during this offseason, player coming in from another team. That would be Zach Pascal. They haven't done that much more on the defensive side. They did get Hassan Reddick, which I think is one of the best free agent signings of the entire offseason to this point, one of the best edge pass rushers. I like the linebacker they added. I'm a big Kazir White fan. They retained Anthony Harris, which is an okay move for me. It's kind of like paddling in place, not really going anywhere, but it's better than sinking. So I'm okay with the signing, but I'm not doing backflips on it. But they haven't made any other additions to the secondary. And I know that they've got all these draft picks coming up, 3 in the first round. They're going to use them all. We shall see. And it's a big part of the offseason, and it hasn't got here yet. You can't push fast forward and get to the draft faster than you want to. It is what it is. But there are still a couple big-name free agent defensive backfield players that are still sitting out there, one of which is the Honey Badger. The other of which is, Stephon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year, not all that long ago. Do you think the Eagles are in the mix for either of those two guys? Should they be in the mix for either of those two guys? Or do you think this is another, well, the Eagles don't want to set the new level type situation? Sorry, we're not playing in that neighborhood kind of thing.
I think it's one of those we'll consider it if it's a 1 year deal type of things. And, they'll go a little bit higher. Barrett brought up, Alshon Jeffrey. Um, they'd be in that category, which is pretty significant for a 1 year deal. Um, so, it wouldn't be you brought up a bunch of those cost effective 1 year deals. They'd give those two particular players some money. Um, but I do think it would be in the 1 year deal range. So that's kind of things, and that's why they're both out there. They're both saying, why the heck are we not getting what we should be getting? And we know how the NFL works. In the case of Gilmore, at his age, there's not going to be a lot of teams lining up to pay significant money on multiple years. Um, Honey Badger is, talked about how much football he's played. I don't even think he's 30 yet. And he's played an extraordinary amount of football. Gilmore's already 31 and he's going to be 32 like 3 weeks into the season. So that's his issue. I mean, teams are very concerned about cornerbacks, especially when you hit that 30 mark. Um, when it comes to, 29 years old is all Tyrann Mathieu is, but he came into the league very young, 2013. He's been very healthy for the most part. He's always played significant snaps. So we're talking 9 NFL seasons of really, really significant work. And he's not the same from what I've heard a couple scouts say from a um, wheels perspective, from a speed perspective, from just the ability to run like he used to. And that's going to concern some teams. And with these two particular players, because we know, I mean, Eagles fans, God bless them, they want every big name there is. If they heard of them, they want them. And this is a very, very fluid league. Just because you were a star doesn't you're going to be a star in perpetuity. When you sort of fall off the cliff in this league, it happens rapidly.
True.
And that's sort of what you're always trying to do, figure out, the old adage, better to give up on a player a year early than a year late. How much do you want to go in for players like this? That's what everybody's discussing, not just the Eagles, because they're still out there.
So here's where I get to a roundabout way to ask about a guy who I do like. I'm a Steven Nelson fan. They're guys that I just gravitate to. Greg Ward was my favorite this past year. Steven Nelson might have been my favorite on the defensive side of the ball. Thought it was a great signing by Howie Roseman. We're here questioning the fact that Howie hasn't been aggressive enough this offseason. And you have to look back to last year and give him a major credit check for the fact that he waited on Steven Nelson, waited on Steven Nelson, got him on a team-friendly deal because they cut it just before camp opened up, and we are months away from July, where the Eagles signed Steven Nelson last year. I thought he had a good enough year this year that he would be one of the more aggressively pursued free agent cornerbacks on the open market. Well, bitching about the fact the Eagles haven't done anything, and Steven Nelson is still sitting out there on the open market. They did bring back Anthony Harris, who had been a 1-year Philadelphia Eagle, and they got a deal done, 1-year deal with him. They brought Derek Barnett. Now I get it that Derek was a drafted player and continuity throughout the organization, even though for me, that basically ends the day that Nick Sirianni takes over. When you change your coaching staff, that restarts the clock on all the players for me. But he was an Eagle prior to that. He was even one of the Super Bowl winning Eagles. So you have to add all that into the mix. Is Steven Nelson coming back here, Johnny Mac? If the deal is right, it's a 1-year deal. And I would suggest at this point, if he gets a multi-year deal, it's just going to be for cap purposes. It's not like he's going to get guaranteed money in any of those future years. We're going to get Steven Nelson back here in Philadelphia.
I think there's a possibility, but a lot of it depends on the draft. And the Eagles do have 3 first-round picks. And I think cornerback is one of the most likely positions that they're going to go in the first round of the draft. And if they draft a first round cornerback, they're going to want that first round cornerback to play. And if they draft a first round cornerback, I don't think Steve Nelson's coming back. If for whatever reason, um, the board falls the way it falls on draft day, the Eagles move out. They don't have 3 picks. Maybe they cut it down to 2 picks and they go different ways and they don't draft a corner that highly. Obviously, they're going to get one at some point. Then I think there's more likely of a chance that Steve Nelson is going to come back. But I think at this stage, he's an after the draft guy, just like he was last year. Unless he wants to sign Anthony Harris's deal, then he can come back tomorrow, I would imagine. But he doesn't want to do that. And he didn't want to do it last year, and he held out. And he got pretty good money on a 1-year deal. I think it was $6 million. I'd have to look at it.
Last year?
Yeah. No, it was $3 million.
Yeah, I was
$3
going to say
million.
it was
He wanted
less
6.
than
He wanted 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to hold out for that kind of deal again. And I know he's been on Twitter, and he's been a little bit upset about his market because I do think he played pretty well as the Eagles cornerback too. But remember, Jody, last year he came here because of the opportunity. The Eagles could offer him, say, "Hey, you're the starting corner. Go out there, play well, get back to the free agent market, and then cash in." That was the plan. He held up his end of the plan, and the money still wasn't there. This time, if they draft a first round corner, they're not going to be able to say, "Steve, you come in, you can be the starting corner," because he knows he's probably not going to be the starting corner. So if they draft a corner in the first round, which I think they're going to do, I don't think Steve Nelson's going to be back.
Right. And I kind of agree with you. I was kind of hoping they got something done before the draft, and then they're just adding to need at drafting depth at that position. And if the guy comes in and beats him out, so be it. If the first round draft pick is better, you just make it a competition on the field. May the best man win. I think that would have been the best for the Eagles, but I think you're right. Now that we've gotten this far down the road, they're just going to go ahead and wait to see who they get in the draft. One of the guys that I did see tied to the Eagles on NFL media over the weekend, saying that the Eagles were one of the teams very much interested in the first round, is like I know you've talked up here on Birds 365, and that's Trent McDuffie of Washington. I got bad news for all the Eagle fans, our streamers here on Birds 365, and those who tweet at me and or call me on WIP. The Eagles are not getting Sauce Gardner. You can hold out hope.
No.
You can point to whatever mock you want to that he actually fell to number 11 and then create a trade where the Eagles move up to go ahead and get him. He's not getting past either of the 2 New York teams. Both of the New York teams have interest in him. And right now the Jets have the 4th pick and the 10th pick. And the Giants have the 5th pick and the 7th pick. So the 2 New York teams have 4 picks ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles at pick number 6. There is no chance they're getting Sauce Gardner. He is going to be off the board. You should give up on that narrative right now. It's not happening. All the other cornerbacks, I think, are in play because I think any of them can fall down, including Stingley, who I think is going to be the best of the bunch. Injury issues, LSU this past year, probably going to have him drop. You like McDuffie as the second best cornerback in this year's draft?
It depends what you think on Stingley. It's that old age axiom in this league when it comes to scouting. Stingley probably has the higher ceiling. McDuffie probably has the higher floor. For what the Eagles like typically at corner, they want length. Stingley would be a better fit for him. Just he's a little bit longer. So, Howie always says, "What's your favorite flavor?" I think if you want somebody to play and play to a high level early in his career, I think McDuffie's the better choice. I think if you don't mind waiting for the growing pains, and every rookie corner is going to have growing pains. So I'm not going to say McDuffie's not going to have growing pains either, but I think Stingley's might be more significant. Startup cost, as Jim Schwartz would like to say, but I think Gardner's going to have those same issues as well. Corner is one of the toughest positions to make the transition from college to pro for this reason. They let you get away with more in college, which is rare. It's usually the other way around. Not at corner. I mean, at corner, you're allowed to do some things down the field, bully some players, especially I think there's some reputation issues in college, especially if you play at a high level college. Um, you're used to getting your hands on receivers. Then you get to the NFL and they're throwing every ticky tack flag on the planet, and you start to get criticism because fans are unhappy when you get penalties, and they're huge penalties in the game. Generally, pass interference, that's the most high profile of all the penalties, other than the Derek Barnett roughing the passer, dumb, type penalties. Pass interference is the most crippling penalty in the NFL. Really hard position to play. So, the Eagles typically like length. So my guess would be that the Eagles would like Stingley better than McDuffie. I still think somebody's going to jump at Stingley before 15, though. So, I mean, I think it'll be a decision, unless they move up, they're not going to be able to make because not going to be there.
You are dead on right about the way that pass interference is adjudicated, is judged in the NFL as compared to college football. And maybe the biggest thing of which is, if you get beaten college football and you're going to give up a touchdown and the guy's behind you and you're looking at a 65-yard score, you damn well better grab that guy's arm and make sure he doesn't catch some football, because what are you getting? 15 yards.
Yeah.
In the NFL, the ball's in the air 65 yards. Guess what? Spot foul right there. They're going in anyway. So not only do you have to get your mindset to how to defend and what you can and can't get away with, you just got to forget the fact that drawing a pass interference is a good play. It can be in college. It is not in the National Football League if a guy gets behind you. So that is something that over time, yes, all of them get it set in their mind, and it just becomes second nature as to how to play. Rookies need to get over that. And anybody they plug in as the first-round draft pick this year is going to have to deal with that. That's kind of why I'm hoping that Steven Nelson comes back, because then you can slow play a guy into the lineup rather than throw him into the deep end of the pool. There are times and places where I say, hey, you got to sink or swim. And you use them first round, get him in there. I've always believed that that's better with the quarterbacks, specifically top half of the first round. Put him in. You're going to have growing pains. You know it's going to be growing pains. Put him in there. Sitting him on the bench with a clipboard in his hand and a ball cap on his head doesn't necessarily work. And anybody who wants to argue that with me, we can. Neither one of us is going to win the argument, because there have been guys who went in year number one, paid the price, and became Hall of Famers. There were guys who sat for 2 or 3 years and became Hall of Famers, Aaron Rodgers. So there's no definitive way to do it. My personal opinion is get him in there. Let him learn on the job.
Startup costs, baby. You got to start it to get it over with. You might as well start it. Everybody's going to have them, so you might as well start the clock. And with corners, I think the biggest thing is really confidence. It really is, because you are going to take some hits. You're going to give up some touchdowns. You're going to give up some penalties. You're going to be vilified. So you need that Darius Slay mindset, which is like, I'm the best there is, and I don't care what you say. That's what all corners need, and it's easier said than done.
Even as he's beaten for a 65-yard touchdown, Slay still believes, the next one I'm picking off and taking to the house.
Look at Jalen Ramsey in the playoffs. You're going to get beat in this league. Everything's against you. Everything is against you. You're going to get beat in this league. You got to leave it and go on to the next play.
He is John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. We are your Mac and Mac Bird 365 guys. we're hoping that ex-Eagle tight end Clay Harbor joins us. We've never had Clay on the show before. John struck up a relationship with him via social media and got him to agree to come on the show. Great on John. I've never had a chance to talk to Clay Harbor. Hopefully he's up next here on Birds 365.